will the world be worried, especially given what we saw in the first 4 years of Trump? Should the world be worried how his presidency, if at all there is a second term, his presidency may shape these relationships?
Yeah. No, the world should be thrilled. I mean, how many wars started for those 4 years? Anybody got an idea? Zero. Yeah, zero. We now have a major conflagration in Europe, continuing now 2 years on. We have the most horrific act that I have seen in my adult lifetime. What Hamas did, what the Iranian leadership did to those women on October 7th in the southern part of the Negev desert is unlike anything I've ever seen. And I've seen, as CIA director, I've seen an awful lot. This didn't happen under President Trump's watch. Instead, we built peace and prosperity. We built what became called the Abraham Accords. We had 4 nations declare that they were no longer going to be hostile to the nation of Israel. We knew that Jerusalem was the rightful capital of Israel. Basic things that most of the people said, this will cause World War III. I remember, I was there. Mike, if you strike Qasem Soleimani, World War III will ensue. The truth is, just the opposite happened. We saw the entire world come to say, those people are serious. And they are going to defend the things that they promised to defend. Vladimir Putin didn't take an inch of Ukraine on our watch. He took a fifth of Ukraine under President Obama, and then he stopped. And then he went back at it again just a few months after we left. I know, New York Times, CNN International, they'll tell you it was just pure luck. Fair enough. Maybe we did have good luck. Maybe the good Lord was with us. We can ascribe it to whatever we want, but I know it happened. Afghanistan didn't fall under President Trump. Right? These are things that we can factually present that are indisputable about the world being better off. So when you ask, should the world be worried about President Trump, I think the world will be fundamentally more prosperous and more secure were President Trump to be given a second term, another 4 years. Vladimir Putin had a fundamentally different perception of America when President Trump was in office. He just did. You can argue about why. Mean tweets. You just describe it however you choose to describe it. But the reality was that the missiles that saved Kyiv, the very Javelin missiles that were fired that saved Kyiv the night that they almost lost it, does anybody in this room know who provided those missiles to the Ukrainian people? Which president? It wasn't President Obama. He refused to do it. Had President Obama or his successor been elected in 2016, there would have been no Ukrainian defense that night from Javelin missiles. President Trump allowed those missiles to be delivered, saving Ukraine, giving them the very opportunity that they face today. In the end, you have to convince your adversary that the cost of continuing conflict exceeds the benefit. This is deterrence 101. This is economic 101. This is what you teach your children. When they behave badly, you have to convince them that their bad behavior, which they enjoyed and benefited from, their bad behavior is exceeded by the cost of that bad behavior. And that's what we lost. And we have to allow the Ukrainians to do that, and we didn't. I'm afraid we're not doing it in Israel either. Today, the President of the United States and many countries, the United Nations, I think India voted that way as well, is trying to constrain the one actor that has a chance of actually creating peace in the region. Right? The leaders of Hamas to this day, tomorrow there will be a ceasefire, everything shuts down. What's Hamas going to do tomorrow? What would Iran do tomorrow? They'll go right back at it. This is no nation. India wouldn't allow this. Does anybody think Vladimir Putin really feared that NATO was going to roll into Russia? Maybe. I don't think there's any evidence to support that. By the way, the United States made a promise to Ukraine in 1994 in the Budapest Memorandum. We said, give up your nuclear weapons, Soviet-era weapons, and in exchange for that, if you come under threat, we will support you in your defense. The world knows that America made that promise. If we walk away from that, good luck getting Chairman Kim in North Korea to give up his nuclear weapons. Good luck getting any nation to give up anything that matters to them based on an American guarantee. So I would argue there is a deep, important commitment there. The Chinese Communist Party isn't just a threat in the Taiwan Straits. They're inside the gates. The largest spying operation, I believe, ever conducted on America wasn't by the Russians. It was being conducted out of the Chinese consulate in Houston, Texas, with diplomats operating undercover. And we closed the consulate. We made the decision to close the consulate. Not an easy decision. You can imagine. Oh my gosh, what will the Chinese do? Will they invade Taiwan? Will World War III? What they understood was like, these guys, good on you. You figured it out and you crushed it. They remain a threat. They're all around us. They're working hard inside our countries. They want to change the nature of India as well. They want it to look more like them than you. And we can't let that happen inside our own countries either. It's complicated. I get it. Deep trade relationships for India. Deep trade relationships, economic interests for the United States of America as well. I know them very, very well. We have to find a model that delivers security and prosperity for ourselves, protects our own trading bloc, and the rules that have delivered India to the place that it is today. And if we do that well, I'm convinced China will end up having to follow suit. If you ask, by the way, what stops Xi Jinping today, I think he figures his generals are lying to him just like Putin's generals lied to him as well. So I'm guessing he's double checking what everyone's telling him. It's also the case that the cocktail party talk is about an invasion of Taiwan. Why would you invade Taiwan? That's nasty. You blow up TSMC, and so nobody benefits from this. No, the way to take Taiwan is to do what you did in Hong Kong, is to apply pressure and convince the world that, that in fact Xi Jinping, that the Chinese Communist Party is the strong horse. You undermine it via all the soft power tools and back it up with a very capable, not only Navy and Army, but a powerful nuclear weapons program, a powerful space program. China has each of those. So you have the hard power tools, but your modus vivendi to achieve your objective, which is political control, not just in Taiwan, but in the entire region, Pacific Islands included. I think the model isn't to send a fleet. Might do that if he has to, but the model is way more dangerous than that.
Would President Trump concede if he lost this time around?
Oh, sure.
He would?
Of course, yeah, of course. I'm still waiting on Secretary Clinton to concede in her election.
She did the next
No,
day.
she didn't. She still tweets, go look them up. She still says the thing was fixed. Fair enough. By the way, Al Gore thinks he lost. I still won in 2000. Fair enough. We have rambunctious, very competitive elections in the United States. But we also have a court system and a rule of law that conducted a peaceful transition of power, which caused me to grab my bag and walk out of the door on January 21st at noon of the year 20th of January 2021. Worry not. Whatever CNN International tells you, we will have an election. The election will proceed, and we will have a president duly elected. He'll give an inaugural address. Starting right at noon that day, it will happen. You can write it down. You heard it here first.